Welcome to part 3 of the project showcase video. As always, if you haven't seen the first two videos, I don't even know if I can link two videos at once. Can I do part 1 and part 2, or part 1 and part 2? I don't know. We'll find out, but enjoy the projects. Alright, then I won't get too far into details on this one. This is my Voron. I'm sure many of you probably know what a Voron is. So this is my 2.4 350 millimeter cubed build volume printer. I've had this for the past 4 years, I think now is what I've been running it. So I've got numerous mods on it. I didn't build a stock one. I wanted to avoid buying things that I would replace, so I picked out not one, not five, but probably about 15 mods that I wanted to incorporate. Of course, ran into compatibility issues with them all, but ended up working through it and getting them all figured out. Of course, over the years had to keep doing the newer mods that made it more and more convenient to use. So I use this quite often for the majority of my projects. Then over here next to the Voron, I have a wine cooler that's not actually a wine cooler. So another marketplace find that was broken. This one actually has a Peltier cooler instead of a refrigeration unit in it, and there was something wrong with the electronics of it, and so it didn't cool anymore. And I had wanted to make like a dry box for my filament and figured a fridge is pretty airtight, so that's what my plan was. But then upon realizing that it was a Peltier cooler, it got me thinking that I could just hook a Arduino up to a relay to turn the Peltier on and off. So I ended up creating a little LCD with Arduino, and then I can go in. I always have an issue with the buttons. Set my temperature, set my duration with got buttons up here. So this one would cycle through the different temperatures by increments of 5, I believe, and then I can cycle through the amount of hours I want to run it, and then this button just cycles through the different menus. So right now it would be set for 50 degrees Celsius. Right now, no hours, because I didn't select an hour increment on that pass screen. But I wanted to kind of maintain. I found out that this kind of upper control panel still worked separately from the controls that were in the back, so I can change it from Fahrenheit to Celsius. Of course, setting the temperature doesn't actually do anything on here. It's done to the Arduino, but then the light still works on the inside with the touch controls. So it makes a somewhat fancy dry box that I still run out of room for. I made this on my CNC router. It's a sign that features some custom designed PCBs that I built for all the lighting, and it's got a couple different lighting effects, so let's take a closer look at some of them. We have the glitch effect. Of course, you have to have the rainbow barf. And why not a little bit of fire? Oh, and it does music too. I have a hangboard that I made from, what would this be? Like a 2x8 standard piece of wood. This one could have done on my CNC router. I just did with a palm router to set my different heights. I actually messed up on the top row and actually went a little bit too deep. And I now realize why they have them. The boards you buy kind of stagger them out as you get closer, because when you're up here, it's kind of annoying to have your hand up against these other rows. So maybe I'll try making one on my CNC router that's thicker and then actually incorporates the stair steps. But I designed this one so that I could just clip it onto my pull-up bar, and then, you know, got a nice simple hangboard to do my grip training for rock climbing. So I can do kind of 2 fingers, tight in close, out far, and, you know, any sort of variation between that you'd like. So yeah, DIY hangboard. Not sure I would completely consider it a project, since I'm already sharing my little Bluetooth mic. One of the, I guess, challenging things that for me to start these videos was kind of figuring out how to do the recording. Just using my phone right now to record the videos, and then I feel like I notice myself looking kind of off to the side here instead of directly at the camera. That's because I'm using my computer with linked to Windows as a viewfinder essentially, so it's just mirroring my phone screen, so I can help align my frame. If I'm holding something up, then I feel like I drift off to here, so I can help recenter it if I'm looking at my viewfinder there. So yeah, just trying to kind of a DIY version the best I can with what I have. So phone for the camera, wireless earbuds for my microphone, and link to Windows as my viewfinder. And you can even put it at half screen and have like a script up there then to read from if I need that. Do you have a Packout that you want to organize all your bits with? No, don't do that. Build yourself one of these. Got some nice wiggling action, so you can fit your fingers in between all your bits and grab the one that you want. And they fit snugly right into all your bins. Even got one for the tall bits. Again, swivel so you can fit all your bits in. Wait, how do you get them out when they're in the Packout? Oh, you just flip them up and down. Nice. And just like that, you're all up and organized in your new Packout. Another project. I don't vape, but I feel like recycling vapes is useful. So I've got my multimeter. It normally takes AAAs, I believe, 3 of them, and it lasts for quite a while, but then of course your batteries start dying and then you've got to replace it. So I instead recycled a vape that had a little USB-C charger on it. Once it ran out of juice, my friend saved it for me, and I converted this to be lithium battery powered, and then you can recharge it with your standard USB-C. So whenever your battery gets low, not low right now, but I just replaced the back cover with a 3D printed counterpart. So I incorporated like a little cord wrap on here. Not really the best, but it's better than what it was before. And typically I feel like you wrap them around your multimeter, but this one has buttons and screen, so you kind of need access to all of that. So that's my vape powered multimeter. Alright, I have another one where the microphone wasn't happy with the wind, so this is my bull bar that I built in high school for my Jeep. Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm hoping right now that the wind isn't too bad, but it wasn't really the greatest, so I'll have to work on getting one of those wind protectors for the mic. But I built this out of some steel pipe that I got from the hardware store. It's probably about 3/16 inch thick, so somewhat heavy duty stuff. I think the normal chrome bull bars that you see that people buy are a lot thinner than this, so I feel like it could actually take quite a hit. Just have a little bit of surface rust after these 9-ish years that I've had this mounted. So I designed it up in CAD, and surprisingly, after I got it all bent together, it was only about an inch off from where I thought it was, and I was actually able to account for it when I welded the brackets that mount it to the subframe here. And then I have the license plate mounts integrated into the skid plate here. It was a piece of plasma cut metal that I then rolled out to match the bend contour of the rest of the bull bar. Yeah, that baby ain't going nowhere. I of course had to put the teeth on here because it's a Jeep, so you gotta make the Jeep angry. It's a Jeep thing, right? Plus, I built this in high school, so you know how high schoolers get with their first car. I would like to believe that my modifications to my vehicle have aged tastefully, at least, compared to some of the other high school mods that you could do as a high schooler. So yeah, this is my bull bar that I built for the Jeep. Alright, sticking with the car theme, this has been my shifter for the past 9-some years. Another high school project. We did sand casting. I sand casted the top of this and then machined a housing shifter lever sleeve for it that kind of clamps over the original shifter, but then I could still take this off and put the factory one back onto it. I made a mistake when I originally designed it. I had this outer piece going all the way down, but I didn't realize that as you shift this, the farther back it goes, the deeper this kind of sinks into the plate. So I had to chop it off and then put this extra sleeve that actually is just loose in here, just to give it that look that it's complete going all the way through. And then, as you saw, you just press down and then you can shift it back. I realized after I installed it that this is actually backwards. It's supposed to be with this hand, but I had just drilled the bottom, or drilled the hole on the less sunken face of this, so the other side had a little more sink on it. So I drilled a hole on that side, not even considering which way you grab it, but I feel like it's pretty comfortable the way it is. So that's my sandcasted shifter knob. Another project is a Jumpstarter for my vehicle. So I've got some jumper cables that plug onto this XT90, and then this is a 12-volt battery made up of those SPM 08 HP batteries again. I salvaged the circuit from, I had a mini car jump starter, probably about a third of this size, that it could probably jump start like a lawnmower, but I don't know if I've actually, I think when I actually tried to use it when I needed it, it couldn't actually jump start my vehicle. So I wanted to build one that would actually jump start my vehicle, and maybe even start it a couple times if you lost a battery for some reason. But stole the circuit from that, so it'll tell you what level it is. It's got some USB ports on it, and then it also had a integrated flashlight. So I've got it hooked up to this light so that I can kind of pivot it if I'm trying to see underneath it, and then it's got different flashing modes. I unfortunately accidentally burnt out this lens. I hooked it up to 12 volts forgetting that it's only a 5 volt light, so I was intending to have a switch here so I could switch it between spot and floodlight. So I'll just have to wait until I find another broken Milwaukee flashlight to incorporate a working one back into this. But yeah, this is my vehicle jump starter that I built. Alright, this one, I'm not exactly sure what YouTube's policy is on like weapons. Have to specify this is a BB gun, probably. But one of the projects I did was it doesn't have a accessory rail, so I designed a accessory rail that could attach to the trigger guard right here. So let me quickly throw that on. And there we go. It just kind of sandwiches on in two halves, and then you can take your accessory and fasten it onto the rail, and then you've got the rail mount for your gun. If it was a real gun, I'm sure that the blowback would eventually keep moving this down, since there's nothing to actually fasten the front of this, so it's just kind of relying on clamp force around your trigger guard. So in that regard, not necessarily the best, but for a BB gun, I think it does plenty for trying to mount accessories to a gun that doesn't normally have an accessory rail. And then I also built I don't know what you would call like this version, where you've got your bottom rail for your bottom, and then it also has a top for like a scope. So I also did one of these, same concept. It's a sandwich of two parts, so there's a line down the middle, and then it just sandwiches the two different parts, and you can mount your top accessories and bottom accessories then. So yeah, that's the BB gun accessories. Next up, I have a couple projects that I no longer have laying around, or they were projects that I did for other people. So another high school project that I did was I had found a mini bike frame, threw one of those Harbor Freight Predator engines on it, had to modify the frame a little bit to fit such a big engine onto it, and gave it a paint job, and of course I had to throw some lights on there. My buddy and I, we built our mini bikes together, so kind of put the underglow on there to match. I had a friend from college who his dad wanted a life-size bust of their dog, so I ended up 3D printing it in 4 different sections. I had a guy who wanted his gun engraved. It ended up turning out really good. I did the butt and the pump action of his gun. One of my friends wanted a fancy wine rack, so this is something I did on the laser engraver as well. I've done quite a few of the CNC signs, kind of like my Jeep one. One of my friend's friend wanted a Skyline. He wanted the whole 9 yards, where instead of just the LED rings like I had, he wanted them to be infinity mirrors. I laser cut some acrylic and put some of that mirror film on it for the lights. I unfortunately have kind of bad videos of this one, but I didn't really do a very good job at taking a finished picture or video of it. Another Facebook Marketplace find, I dubbed this one the washing machine. It's a Stratasys FDM 2000. It actually powered on and you could move it, but I unfortunately was never able to get it to actually start printing something from the slicer. So I thought it might be fun to try converting this thing to modern day electronics. So I took off the probably 6 cubic feet of electronics off the top of the machine and threw in a Raspberry Pi with a touch screen and put clipper on this thing, and I maintained the heated enclosure area, heated beds. A couple more CNC router signs. A guy started off wanting just the front grille of a Challenger, and he liked it so much that he wanted the rear of the vehicle, and also some more Hellcats with light up eyes. So when I was into RC cars, I wanted to try getting some recordings, so I built this roll cage that could house my knockoff GoPro, and then I also built this kind of trophy truck style body out of some polycarbonate with some custom paint job on it and some lights. This one did actually fit a GoPro. There's a little 3D printed GoPro mount, so you can get like the first person view of driving the truck essentially. With that, that'll conclude the project showcase series. So that means you guys are pretty much all caught up on all my projects. I didn't put any Go board stuff in here, so if you don't know what a Go board is, go check out my channel and find the other videos on that. But otherwise, leave a comment on what your favorite project was, if there's anything you want me to go in more detail on, or if you have any questions. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more Go board content.